What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Monday Legacy Life Call. Happy Monday. Hope everybody's doing well. We are rocking and rolling. People are moving, people are making stuff happen. And what's up, Vinay? What's up? What's up? I know we'll have more and more people trickling in as we get the call going here. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update here. So for this month, all right, today is the 25th of March. And so far this month, as far as like our top 10 goes, we've got Jen Voskul as our number one agent. First time being number one so far. Great job, Jen. We've got Aaron Wilson at number two. I'm currently sitting at number three. We've got Janet Brush sitting at number four. Great job, Janet. Mike Guerra is at number five. Number six right now is Mallory Barnes. Number seven is Megan Bachman. Number eight is Gina Mayers. Number nine is Tom Payne. And number 10 is our guest on the call today, Mr. Andre Lee. So I'm not going to be talking a whole bunch, but wanted to give you guys that top 10. If you guys don't already, have your tickets for the View coming up in April. It's April 12th that weekend. Let me just confirm that real quick. I'm going off of memory here. Yep, the 12th, 13th, 14th. Make sure you get your tickets for the View. Start getting, if you haven't already, I know a lot of people are on top of these things. Some people are less on top of these things. But get your flights, get your hotel, all that good stuff. We're running promotions around the View from the Edge. We've got a party bus. We've got a Thursday during the day party for our top 10 producers. And we've got the party bus for top 10 recruiters, top 10 producers, for that event. And last year we had a blast on the party bus, so you don't want to miss that. And without further ado, or more wait here, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. So this is somebody that I met I think about a year ago. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but really from the get-go, Andre has just been on top of it, rocking and rolling, making things happen, coachable, teachable, young, hungry, motivated, out there in North Carolina. And just dude is kicking butt really at every aspect of the sales side of things with this business. You know what I mean? Like he went and ran in person. He's doing it virtual. Like he's just doing it all. He's coachable. He's teachable. And I get a lot of emails when people are submitting policies, and I get, I always go look and see, oh, who submitted this one at Mutual of Omaha. And I will tell you this, a lot of the time it is our buddy on here, Andre. So in fact, he put one in right before this. Did they get approved, dude?
Oh yeah.
Approved, Mutual of Omaha. So yeah, man. I just want to give you the floor. Take it away. I know you and Mike talked a little bit about what to go over on here, but we're just, dude, we're proud of you. We're excited to have you on the team. Can't wait to see like all your success. It's going to be more and more and more every single year, and we're just happy to have someone of your caliber. Be able to teach people. What are you doing? You're a year into the business. How are you kicking so much butt? You were in the top 10 this past year, so have at it, man. Take it away, and I appreciate you.
Right. Thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate the introduction and just wanted to, obviously say thank you to Nick and Mike and really everybody, Hutch and everybody who's, helped to build this up. Obviously I wouldn't be here without you guys. So, like you said, just wanted to give you guys really a high level of how I got to where I am today and how I've been able to, remain consistent and kind of keep moving forward. A little bit about me. I'm from Illinois originally, went to University of Illinois. They're still in the tournament, I think. But once I graduated from there, helped out with my dad's business. He owns a demolition company, helped him out a little bit. And then I kind of got into insurance not too long after I graduated in 2019. So I was working for Globe Life at the time. And so, I didn't really know what I was doing, but really, once the pandemic started, I was done. I left the industry and everything. And then I decided to move to Houston. So I was living in Houston for a little bit. And there I was working for Goosehead Insurance. So they are more on the property and casualty side. So I was doing home insurance, auto insurance, flood, and all that stuff, especially if you're down there on the coast or in Texas, anywhere. The insurance down there is a lot more expensive than anywhere else. So, was doing that for a while, about a little bit less than 2 years. And so they decided that they were going to open up an agency here in North Carolina, where I am now. And what happened was they were supposed to cover some moving expenses, and then by the time I got out here, they didn't end up covering them. But that's kind of how I ended up going full time into this. But originally, I had met Mike at I think it was one of the realtors that I had partnered with while I was doing property and casualty. He had met. His name was Jerome. So Jerome was a realtor that I had partnered with because that's how we got our business. So Jerome, when somebody would close on a house, he would call me and say, "Hey, I have Jane here. She's going to be closing on a house on this date. I need you to take care of the, homeowner's insurance." And then I would call that person and, and set everything up. So Jerome is pretty big in network marketing, I feel like. So he was doing something else, and I guess and had connected with Mike through another, can't forget, I don't remember her name, but all had met together at Jerome's house in short. And so Mike went through the whole rundown, did a presentation, talked to everybody. At the time, it was just something that I wanted to do part time, make a couple extra bucks. And then, like I said, once I moved and all that stuff happened with the other company, I called Mike. I think Mike was in Ireland. So he was out in Ireland, and I was trying to get started here full time. And so dove right in, didn't really have any time to, kind of wait around and try to learn everything about the game because, I got a new place. My rent is a lot more expensive here than it was in Houston. And, I was really just trying to hit the ground running as fast as I could. So, I just called them one day and was like, "Hey, I got to get going. I just left my job and, I need to figure something out." So, started running appointments pretty much immediately. I wasn't scared to just listen. It went, from zero to not knowing anything to 100. So I started running appointments, buying leads. At first, it was just instant purchase. So I would go in there, and if anybody is new, it was a little bit different of a system. But I would start buying the leads. And at first, I was doing a little bit in Raleigh, and then there's another county that was close by that I was going to, again, just instant purchasing leads, but just started having a lot of success right away, pretty much from just listening. Right. I knew that I didn't know anything, but I wasn't really worried about asking questions or anything. So that's a big takeaway. So at first, one of the big things for me was when I got in the house, you know, obviously I don't know what to look for. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I know I can talk to people. So I would go, I would have my appointments, sit down. Well, actually, wait, let me rewind it a little bit. I'll start with the dials before I get into appointments. The dials at very first, I literally there's the script that you can get from the resources online. I had a little bit of that, and then I had some of what Mike would say to people to set up appointments. And I vividly remember the first time sitting down and actually dialing to call people to set appointments, and I quite literally just read it. And you know, it wasn't that tough. At first, I was just reading, and then I started to get a little bit more comfortable with it, make it a little bit more my own. And then you start hearing, I mean, within the first one or two dial sessions, you pretty much have heard, a lot of what you're going to hear for the most part. So you start to be able to get comfortable with how you're going to respond to what people are saying. And I'd say a big takeaway for me, whether it's your dials or virtual sales or in-person sales, is just to be able to keep the conversation going. It's important what you say, but if you have them on the phone and you have their attention, you're good. You always have a chance, right? It's not like they're just hanging up the phone on you. So started out with just quite literally reading the script and getting a little bit more used to it. Then I started putting together my own thing and my own little personality into it, and that was it. And that's really the most important part, is being able to get in front of the people, especially once you're starting with direct mail. I have to have the opportunity to at least get in front of these people, right? If I can't get in front of them, it doesn't mean anything, right? So dials were huge. And then once I actually started setting appointments, kind of jumped ahead of myself earlier, but the big thing was once I got in front of people, what was I here, to do, right? So I would go in, build some rapport, right? Talk to these people. A lot of them are old ladies or old men or whatever the case may be, right? And they want somebody to talk to a lot of times. So when you're there, don't get carried away, which I have plenty of times. But have some conversation, right? It doesn't have you don't have to go in and get right to it. You can go in, build some rapport, find something to talk about, and you're gonna enjoy some of the stories you'll get out of it. Right? I love some good final expense clients. So getting in front of the people, I would go in, build a little bit of rapport, but then after that, everybody does it a little bit different, right? I have that sheet, the lead, right? And it's saying, hey, as a resident of North Carolina, you're entitled to more benefits, not entitled by or not provided by government funds. I mean, I've read it so many times, I got it memorized. So at that point, after we've kind of gotten comfortable with each other, hey, Nancy, I know you sent this form in a couple of weeks ago or a couple of days ago, whatever the case is. And, like I said, my job's pretty simple. It's really just to figure out, I guess, what might have been the reason for sending this in. And they already have the form that when I came to the door, I showed it to them. They know what it is. And I just let them talk, right? They're going to tell you what the reason is, whether they just want to add, or they don't have anything at all, or they're going to give you their story and, what happened that has them looking. But to kind of fast forward a little bit, once you figure out what the reason is that they're looking, you really are just going to take that and build on it. I know everybody or like people like Nick and Mark and Mike. You don't just hear why they want to do it and say, okay, let's do it, right? You do want to build on it a little bit. I won't do a whole role play or anything, but build on it a little bit once they say what the reason is. Oh, my husband passed away and he didn't have anything. It was really hard. Just know how to kind of keep going from there and get a little uncomfortable and really kind of going a little bit deeper, another level or two. But then you can go into your solution. And so, to do that, you have to know their health, obviously, and you got to know their budget. So at first, when I was newer, I used the green sheet um, because it was a good basis on, okay, what all do I need? And it does have everything on it. For me, I kind of felt a little bit weird sometimes pulling out a piece of paper. So for me, I just have a little notebook and I just, it doesn't have to be a big one. I'm from home now, so that's a little bit much, but I had a little like small little notebook there and I would write down everything. Once I understood what all was on the green sheet, I would just write it down because it was already in my head. So that's a little bit less intimidating. I felt like maybe it was something I was making up in my own head, but I didn't like pulling out a sheet. I didn't like using the binder and the ATM and using the whole presentation and flipping through that. It just seemed a little bit salesy for me. And it's no knock on anybody else doing it because plenty of people use it and have a lot of success. So um, would go in, I would write down the health, right? So name, date of birth, smoker, non-smoker, obviously if they're married or if they have their husband or wife with them, get their information as well. But the big things for me, I think that a lot of people are going to ask for is, the main things, right? Cancer, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, COPD, um, you know, any of those big things. For the most part, I won't say you're good to go if people don't have those, but if they're clear of those, I mean, you might be all right for the most part, right? But you go another level deeper, right? Those are the big ones. Now, hey, have you taken or have you been prescribed anything, right? And they're going to say, oh, well, I've got prescribed this, but I don't ever take it, or they gave me this, but I don't need it, or they said I'm diabetic, but I ain't diabetic. They're gonna say whatever they want to say. So I always say, hey, look, I know you might have been prescribed stuff, but you might not take it. And that's completely fine. But what have you been prescribed in the last 5 years? And they say, well, they gave me this, but I don't take it, right? I'm just phasing out that last part. Oh, but I don't do this or what that doesn't matter to me. So um, get the prescriptions. Okay. So they said no, they don't have heart attack, stroke, COPD. cancer, whatever in their history, that's fine. Hey, what prescriptions are you taking? Okay. And it's probably going to be some blood pressure or cholesterol or maybe something for thyroid. But you're getting all those medications. And it's just going to sound like a bunch of nothing to you at first because you don't know what you're looking for. But I think this point is really important because once you have all that information, you need to transition into calling somebody, whoever your upline is. At the time, for me, it was Mike, and still call Mike. But for me, I would call, and I always felt a little bit weird, or I felt a little weird at first because I was like, well, how does it look when I'm calling somebody from the house asking for help, right? And I quickly realized they don't know what you're doing. They don't know what's going on, right? Don't feel uncomfortable calling someone and asking for help, but pay attention to how you call, right? So like it's not, hey Mike, I just needed a little bit of help, or can you help me out with it? Like for me, after I got all the information, I know why they're looking for insurance. I know what they have. I know their health. I know their prescriptions. Okay, hey Nancy, I got a couple things in mind. I just wanted to get on the phone with one of our underwriters. He knows all of these companies and he can actually advise us best on where to go. There's a couple things I got in mind, but I just want to double check by him because he can go based off of your prescriptions. And then I'll just call Mike. Okay, and they're just going to say okay and go with it, and you call, give them the rundown. Hey, I got Nancy here. Her husband passed away last year, and she's been looking ever since, but she can't really find anything that's within her budget. Uh, so I just wanted to help her out today, and we got a couple of her medications here. Go through all the medications. She's taking lisinopril or atorvastatin or whatever it is. Um, and you just go over that with him. And these guys who have been around for a long time, they're gonna know as soon as they hear these medications. Okay, well that's for this or this is for that. And sometimes you'll run into people who are taking a medication that may be for one condition, but can also be for one. I think I know gabapentin. Before I say, I might be wrong here, so I don't even want to say it, but like gabapentin might can be for pain, but it also be for I believe anxiety. So you can kind of play the two there, and you can go a level deeper and ask them. So once you get somebody who knows what they're talking about on the phone, they say, hey, well, what are they taking that for? Then you can ask them, okay, hey, the underwriter says, that this gabapentin is for neuropathy or whatever for diabetes. Is it for? Oh no, I actually have this, and then you have an understanding of what that medication is for when you're actually doing the app. So from that, whoever your upline is going to let you know who to go to for that person, right? Hey, it sounds like they'll get approved with CFG. Write them a CFG. Obviously, you want to give them something that's within their budget, within what they can spend. But you just pull up the app at that point, right? It's pretty mindless, right? You're going there, you're making a friend, and then you're calling and asking for help, and your help is going to tell you who to put them with. So all you have to do is get back on the computer and fill in the app, and that's it, right? So that's pretty much what I would say as far as like the appointments go, and just writing that app. And I think one thing that as I got a little bit better that I would do once I started getting more comfortable. And this is the last thing I'll say for this. Once I started getting more comfortable, I would have two apps on my screen. Because if someone got declined, maybe they didn't tell you something, maybe they didn't know, maybe they forgot about something that happened to them a couple of years back. I didn't want to have that space, that blank space where I didn't have a plan on what to do. So if I was in the house and somebody gets declined for CFG or MOO, I would have Royal Neighbors or Great Western already on a tab because I've been sitting here going back and forth doing both apps pretty much at the same time, just so that if they get declined, I can just pivot and say, hey, well, we got this option here. It's this much. It's a little bit more, but it still fits within your goals. And you just submit it because it's already done for. It's already ready. You're not going to have to go through the entire app again. And you can kind of use your judgment. If you go in somebody's house and they're overweight and they look sloppy, they got roaches falling in your hair, cats that you know, cats that pissing all over the place and stuff. It kind of looks a little bit like they might not be in the best health. Like those are the people you might want to pay attention to and just, you know, see, okay, maybe I should probably have a second plan after this, but always have something to pivot to, you know, if it doesn't work out, and never oversell something, right? So don't tell them, oh, I got this Mutual of Omaha. It's so cheap. It's going to save you and you're getting so much more coverage, and it make it seem so awesome. And then they get declined, and now they don't want to go from 35,000 to 15,000 for the same price, because it's a letdown. At that point, they're done with you and you lost it. And I've lost plenty like that. So after that, I think a big thing for me, well, not I think a huge thing for me is organization. Uh, I'm very organized, and I remember starting out, you know, asking Mike. Everyone's different, but I remember asking like, you know, how are you keeping up with this? You know, how are you keeping up with people you call, people you got appointments with, people you know sold, people whatever that charge, but whatever the case may be, how do you keep up with it? And you know, again, everybody's got different personalities and all. And, you know, Mike was like, well, it's kind of controlled chaos. And for me, I was like, no shot. You know, I had to figure out something, especially coming from my old company where we had Salesforce. I don't know if anyone's really familiar with that, but Salesforce keeps track of everything, you know, all the way down to the numbers, calls, dials, appointments, whatever. Like I kept track of all that stuff. So for me, what I started doing was initially, well, up to this day, I just made an Excel, right? So on my Excel, I would put the name of the client, right? So when I get the leads, um, I would get a new order of leads. I would have the name, the address, and the phone number, and that was it, right? Everything after that is like notes. So I put the date, right? And then whatever notes for it. Okay. I don't know. Hey, Nick, I don't know if you're listening. Am I able to share my screen? It'd just be easier to say or show. I don't know.
Yeah, bro, you should be able to.
Am I? Okay. Let me see. Um, I hope this, let's see. This will kind of help to explain it. But, and this is just something that I do. Um, by all means, you know, do whatever works for you. Let's see. Okay. So I really just broke it down like this. Um, I hope it's nothing too crazy on here, but it just goes by name. So you see name, address, phone number, and then, you know, what happened. Okay. So on here, that's how I was able to keep track with everything, because what I didn't want was to get in front of people and not know what's happening, or you have somebody call you back or something comes up, you know, and you don't know where it is, or you're fumbling through leads and stuff. You know, it was just a way for me to be able to come in here, hit control find, type in the person's name, and go from there, because it'll pop up. So I have a tab for all my calls, a tab for all my appointments, door knocks, and then the application, the apps that I submitted. So when I get the leads, immediately I was taking them and I was putting them in Route for Me. Okay. Because what Route for Me is going to do is it's going to put everything in order from wherever you start. So I'd have everything in order from my apartment in Route for Me. Then I put it into Excel in that order. So when I call, uh, it's calling in order. So I'm not driving from one side of town, coming all the way back, going all the, you know, all over the place. It's all in order. And then what'll happen is obviously you're not going to, you know, get all of these people when you call them the first time through. But what you're able to do is if I call one person and they're all the way on the other side of town, and then I call the next person and they're all the way on the other side of town, I'm not going to book those two right next to each other. You know, for me, I'll book the one that's on the other side of town in the morning, and then I'll put the other one that's all the way the other way at the end of the day, so that I'm not worried about what's in between. And then I fill in, you know, who's closest, right? So you kind of learn how to pay attention to, you know, where people are. And I could use the Route for Me as I'm dialing. if I'm booking an appointment, I can see, okay, zoom in, I can see where they actually are on the map, um, to be able to figure out what time I want to put them. Um, so once I actually set the appointment with them, because these are the calls, so you see, and I apologize, I haven't read through this, so I hope there's nothing bad in here. But I put the date, what happened, if I called them and didn't get an answer, whatever the case may be, put all the information here, right? So if I book an appointment with Peter, okay, all I'm going to do is cut this out, okay, and then I'll move it to my appointments tab, okay? So just cut it out, move it to my appointments tab, and then I put it in my Outlook calendar so I know, what time I'm going to be sitting with that person, and I got it all in there in order. And then if I sell it, all I would do is move it to, application submitted with payment because it's done. And then when I submit it, right, I have all the notes. I have the notes from when I initially called them. I have the notes from, maybe if they didn't show up and I called them and rescheduled, I got the notes from what happened in the appointment. Everything is in there, about the interaction with that one person. Okay. All the way down to, what I wrote for him. I wrote that person a Mutual of Omaha IUL Express for 50,000, and it was $100 a month, right? Policy number, when it starts, it's all right there. Um, you know, and then that's how I keep organized on everything for me. So like if I had somebody call me back, maybe if I was outdoor knocking and, I left a sticky note on someone's door and I get a call back, right? I can quickly go in here and I can say, okay, I see this phone number, but I don't know who it is. All I got to do is type in, okay, it's 984 808 2142. Who is that calling me? And I can do it while I'm on the phone or while I hear it call. Just go in because it's on. I have Excel on my phone as well. So I can look it on here. I can look on my laptop. Um, so just quickly type in the person's name or whatever, the phone number if they call you and you don't know who it is, because it might be a door knock that you left a note on. If they're calling you back, it probably means they're home, but at least now you can look up that number, right? Because they got the note, they're back home. You can look up that number on here and you can just turn around and go back to their place instead of fumbling through a big stack of leads. So, I mean, lastly on that, I'd say one of the last things that kind of ties in with this. Excel keeps everything organized. The route for me keeps everything organized. On the route for me, let's just say you got a new order of leads or whatever, and you called them, you set all your appointments from it, and then you got next week because you have a GMR or whatever, you have next week new leads coming in. So what I do is I take the leads that I haven't gotten to, right? People that I haven't set an appointment with or haven't sold, right? If I haven't sold them, I keep them in a continuous route on route for me. So every lead that I've ever bought is on here. And I'll kind of show it, pull it up here in a second. Um, every route that I've ever bought here in my county, I keep in route for me. So if I'm ever in an area that, somebody no shows me or something happens where, I don't have time or I have time in between appointments, I can just go on here and then look up, okay, you know, who is close by to the appointment that I have. And this stupid thing is loading. Um, 1 second. So let's just say you guys can kind of see that if I have an appointment with this person, right? They don't show up. Now I can kind of look at who's in that area on route for me and just go and door knock somebody who's close by, right? But it's just a continuous route of every lead that I've ever bought on here. There's something like, 400 leads in here, that I can just go to door knock them. And so what I can do is I can click on one of them and I can say, okay, so Amanda Edwards. And then I can now go on to here and look for an Amanda Edwards and what happened with that person. If I type in Amanda, she's not going to be here. Let's see. Not there. not there. Nah, I don't know. Not in here. Maybe not a good example, but you get the idea. Everything is in here for me. Um, so that's really how I stay organized and say that's it on that one. But recently I've been doing more so virtual, and I think a lot of people have pivoted to that. And I think we're all still learning a little bit. I know a lot of people have been having some success with Ethos. Um, Ethos leads. I've been working with Ed Soto's vertical leads. That's what they're called virtually. And I know Integrity does have a couple leads. Like if you go straight to the ARC, you can go to the Integrity, lead center and look on there. And I bought a couple just to kind of see what information the people are getting. I actually sold one of them because they have the 15 step. I bought like three and sold one. It was like a 15-step questionnaire where they have to answer all these questions. Then they have one where it's not all the 15 questions, but it does have the beneficiary and their relationship, address and all that stuff on there. And then I bought like a diamond life lead. Haven't even called it yet, but you know, pretty much I think the process for me is the same. Um, for me, I think I need to work on my securing the appointment maybe a little bit more. For the most part, everything that I've done has been a one call close. I've probably sold, I'd say, 15 to 20 since I've been started the last month or so. Um, 15 to 20 of the virtual leads. But like I said, a good majority of them have just been one call, getting it done right there. Um, just because I've been having some trouble getting people on the phone afterwards, and that's just something that I can work on. But I think it's good that we got the call on Wednesdays where we can kind of pick each other's brains and learn and just hear from people who are having success, like Dave and Nick. So uh, my process, I'd say for that, really is similar to when I get in the house, right? The only difference is I'm not in front of them. Um, you know, get on the phone, build a little bit of rapport, um, figure out why they're looking around. Depending on what lead source you have, it's going to be a little bit different, right? If you got it off Ethos, hey, I saw you started the app here. Wanted to see if there's anything I can do for you, right? If it's a vertical lead, which is the one that Ed Soto does, it's a little bit different, right? Hey, my name is Andre. I'm with Integrity Marketing Group. Just getting back to you on that request you sent in, because those ones come in immediately. So when you buy a batch of leads with him, they come in right after. If I place the order today, they probably start coming in Tuesday or Wednesday, right? And they come in as people fill them in. So you get a notification in your email. It's got their name, phone number, email, I think. And then you can just call them immediately right there on the spot, and kind of go from there. Uh, so, um, but once I get on the phone, really just same thing, get the information, go from there. I'd say that's really it for the vertical or for the ethos and virtual leads and everything. That'd probably be just about it. So, Nick, or does anybody have any questions? I can kind of answer anything if you have any in the Q&A. Anything from newer agents? So I think I've been. It'll be my first full month was in May. Um, so coming up on a year. Anybody got anything? Okay, so Mallory, talk about your transition, completing the app, doing the one call close. Okay, is that are you asking more so like it's got to be virtual, I guess. Um, so for me, when I am doing just like a one call close and kind of getting to the end, I try to get out in front of it, the objections as quick as I can. For me, one of the big things I know a lot of people have talked about is giving them some kind of validation, right? Your license number, something to make the person a little bit more comfortable with you. So if I call and I'm like, hey, this is Andre, and I'm calling one of the vertical leads. Hey, this is Andre with Integrity Marketing. Just getting back to you on that request you had sent in. Verifying, something because it's going to have all of their info, their coverage amount, the beneficiary, favorite vegetable, do they smoke, any, whatever. It's going to have all that on there. So I'll verify a couple things. But pretty much I'm saying, hey, did I catch you at a good time? And, they're going to say either yes or no, or call me at this time. But if they have a moment, then, I'm still kind of a little bit reserved. Uh, but I am gonna start, asking some questions. Okay, so if they have a moment, hey, what's got you looking around, getting all that information. But like I said, get in front of a lot of those objections. So if they seem like they're involved in the conversation and they seem like they're actually listening and asking me questions, then before I even get into the application, like right before I go into the application, I'm going to say, hey, I got your email here. It's, lee.andre197 at yahoo.com. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Um, I'm going to send you over my contact information and my license with whatever state they're in. So that you can have that and you just have a little bit of peace of mind, you know who you're talking to. You can put a face to a name. And so I'll just go on there while I'm on the phone with them, I have all of my licenses with all the states. I have all of my licenses just in a folder on my laptop. So I have screenshots of them all, take the attachment, put it on the email, and then my email has the signature with my card on it. So they can see what I look like. And I'll just send that to them. Hey, do me a favor when you see that come through, just let me know. And I'll just send it to them, kind of pause for a second. Okay, I see it. I see it. I got it here. Okay, you see all the attachments and everything. You're able to pull it all up. Yeah, I got it. Okay, and then you just start going into the process at whether you like the same as like you were in the house. If I was in the house, I'm getting their information, getting how much money what are they bringing in income wise, what are they bringing in from Social Security or whatever, pension, all that stuff, uh, health information, and then I'm building up. Okay, what am I going to do with this person? Um, but they already know who I am. They've gotten my information, and I think that really does help you down the line because it doesn't make it a big deal once you start asking them for their social and banking information. Now, depending on who you're talking to, I think the timing of when you ask that is important as well. Um, I know a lot of apps, right when you start, one of the first things they ask for is the social, right? But what I'll do is I just ask them, all the easy questions, right? And kind of still building up a little bit of trust, building up a little bit of rapport, trying to throw some jokes in there, throw a little bit of, just make them feel comfortable before I'm like, hey, what's your social? Um, so building a little bit of rapport and everything throughout. But really just at that point, I don't really think I've had anyone. Well, I definitely had some people who were like, I don't give that information out and all that. But, again, I think you catch all that stuff early on. So, uh, the process, though, I'd say would be more so, letting them know early on, hey, to get approved, right? Obviously, not everyone gets accepted. So we do have to submit an application that the company can actually, look at your information, look at your health and choose, okay, is this a yes or a no? And I probably worded it a little bit different, but like if I was on the phone with someone, I'd say, hey, I think Columbian Financial Group would be a great option for you. I know you were looking to spend, or keep it under $100 a month. You were looking for around 20,000 of coverage, right? So what we can do here is we can get a little bit of your information and just see if we can get you approved with them. Because I really can't tell you anything otherwise, right? Because I can give you prices, I can give you numbers, I can tell you all the numbers in the world, but at the end of the day, if I don't give any information to the company, we don't know. And what I don't want to do is, tell you that I can give you this price, let you go home and think about it and all this stuff. And then 2 weeks come down, you call me back and you're like, I want it. And then you get declined. Right. So let's just see if we can get you approved and we'll go from there. And then most people are like, okay, that makes sense because I didn't make it seem like I try not to say the word application. I know I did just a moment ago, but I just say, hey, I just got to get a little bit of your information so I can give it to the company. The company is going to be the one to give the answer at the end of the day. Um, but getting their information, submitting it to the company, like I said, once you start getting into the social, like they're fine with the social, then you get to the banking information, which is like the next one that's kind of tough. But once you get to the banking information, you know, some people will be like, okay, well, why do you need that? I thought we were just seeing if I was getting approved. Well, I do have to get this as well because what'll happen is if you get approved, right, this policy can start whenever you want, right, within the next 30 days. So at least we'll know that you're approved. And then let's just say if you're not ready for it to pay right now, or if you're not ready to pay right now, that's fine. I could push you out up to 30 to 35 days. Um, but at least you'll know you have the approval. And then you can go home and you can think about it and you can do everything you want, right? If, we get approved. But we don't know until we do that. And I do have to give all that information to the company. So people say, "Oh, I don't want to give you that information." That's what I'm, responding when they say that. And majority of the time they're gonna go with it, right? I think a lot of people like to like to act like they don't want to give that information up, but if it's something that's important to them, they'll give it to you, no problem. So yeah, after you get the banking information, you get the social. I mean, those are the hard parts right there. Well, not really hard, but uh, those are the parts that people I think get most nervous about is asking for that information. So just knowing when and how to ask, and if you just ask them straight up and don't like, oh, can I have your, social? Just hey, okay, what's the social? Okay, hey, real quick, the last thing I need here, and then I'm going to send you over the signatures and all that stuff so that you can review it and make sure everything looks accurate. Last thing I need here, what bank are you with, real quick? Oh, I'm with it. Like you almost say it so fast that like they don't even think to like argue with you or say that's anything, right? It's because you just said it so nonchalant, like it wasn't a big deal. It's just part of the process, right? So once you get past that, then you're submitting it. And then same thing that I mentioned as far as like being the home, have another app ready, right? I've had plenty of people that told me they were healthy, told me everything was good, and then they get declined, right? So just have something else ready, on your screen because you're getting their information. So I got on another tab, if I'm in Mutual of Omaha, I'm in whoever, uh, I have another tab up in case they get declined. And I brought it up I've already brought that other company up to them. I've told them, hey, we can try this company, we can see if it gets approved. But if it doesn't work, we do have some other options for you, that are going to be within the same price range, right? And then you can just go right into it. If they get declined, you just go to the other one. You already got everything set and ready to go. So then you just submit that and you're good to go. Once you close it, right? Once they get approved, okay, what I'm doing then is, hey, good news, you got approved. Thankfully we didn't have to do all that blood work and urine samples and all that stuff. You know, uh, Closing it out. Um, ERS is a little bit weird on virtual, but I do try to be consistent on that. And I'll just tell people, once I close it, I'll be writing down all the information. I'll write down the policy number and I'll write down everything, how much it is a month, when it's starting and all that. I'm getting all that information, but I'll tell them, hey, every year, there's billions of dollars that go unclaimed just because family members don't even know that their loved ones have a life insurance policy in place. So one of the processes that we've actually recently, introduced is making sure that we're touching base with everyone's loved ones and making sure that they understand that we are the agent. If something happens, they can give us a call. And we'll help them out with any kind of claims process. And it doesn't sound like you're not asking, even though you're getting a referral, you're not asking them for a referral, right? You're providing a service for them. So I've been trying to be consistent on doing that and asking, hey, who do you want me to reach out to? So you'll get the benefit if they're not married to their beneficiary or their beneficiary is their son or something, you'll get, the son, you'll get somebody's phone number, but you'll get something out of it, another opportunity to talk to somebody. And when you get those kind of referrals, they're really good because you already worked with their loved one, so they already trust you, right? You have that referral for it. Um, and then getting that information, and then I just send them kind of like a closeout email. Hey, this is the information. This is who I put you with. Pleasure. I'll write in the email. Pleasure working with you today. Happy we were able to get everything done and taken care of for you. If you need anything or want to make any changes in the future, don't hesitate to call me. My contact information is below. And then what I'll do is I'll put, the name of the company, what kind of product it is, what the face amount is, how much it is a month, the policy number, um, and then just like some facts, that like older people might like to hear. It doesn't go up in price. I'll just put it in like big caps, like doesn't increase in price. No 2-year waiting period, right? And I'll put the effective date, like when it starts. And then, like I said, I'm telling them on the phone, hey, I'm going to send you this email just so that you have it for your reference. But if you have any questions, you have my number. Save this so that you know who to call if you need something or make any changes. Don't obviously you don't want them to cancel anything on you, right? So you just let them know, hey, if this ends up being too much for you, or it's too expensive, whatever the case may be, right? Just give me a call. We can make any changes that you need to. I'm more than happy to help you, whether it's lowering the coverage, increasing the coverage, whatever it may be. Just give me a call. I'm happy to help, and then I send them that email, and that's really it. So hope I wasn't too all over the place. I think that was Mallory's question, answered very in a very long way. So, anybody else? Nope. Dialing schedule. Um, so for me, um, I know that at first I try really hard to have a dialing schedule, but especially for me on the virtual side, because so much of what I've done has been, just one call. Um, I will say I'll speak on the in-person side. So if I'm doing direct mail appointments, I'm calling Monday and I'm booking for Tuesday, Wednesday. Um, Wednesday, what I would do is I would cut my Wednesdays a little bit short so that I could get home and have some time to dial for Thursday, Friday. So if you're on a GMR and you're getting a lot of new leads or whatever the case may be, right? Let's just say, if I get 20 leads a week, right? I'm going to call on Monday, 3 times a day. I have 2 numbers. So if you don't do this, I call from my number, which is a Chicago area code. And then I created my Google Voice to have like a Raleigh, North Carolina area code. So what I'll do is I call in the morning off of whatever number, doesn't matter, just rotate them. So call off my phone number in the morning, and then midday, call them off my Raleigh area code, and then end of the day, call them off of my real number again. And for me, it was just a psychological thing for me. I just felt like it didn't seem as, you know, annoying, or I wasn't like bombarding somebody, even though it is me. They don't know that I'm calling them off 2 different numbers. So call them off 2 different numbers. And then for Tuesday and Wednesday, I'd probably try to be done, maybe have your last appointment at like 5. So if you can get home by 6:30, you can still try to dial a little bit for Thursday, Friday. And you might not get as many appointments on a Thursday, Friday as you would on a Tuesday, Wednesday, just because you're dialing through a whole new batch on Monday. On Wednesday, you've already called some of these people. Some of them you already know that it's going straight to voicemail. So whatever the case may be, but I did want to give myself an opportunity to have an appointment rather than driving around door knocking all day, which I've done plenty of. Um, and, I've made a lot, probably a good 50-50 when I was doing in person was door knocks. So you definitely can't be scared to go out there and just knock on some doors. Um, but because there's going to be some people that you can't get on the phone. Um, they don't have anything against you. They don't even know you're calling. They just have some setting on their phone that won't let you get through. So you got to door knock those people, and I've definitely sold plenty of them. From door knocks. So yeah, dial Monday for Tuesday, Wednesday, cut Wednesday a little bit short, see what you can get for Thursday, Friday, and I was happy to get, maybe an extra 4 or 5 between Thursday and Friday. And I'm fine with door knocking. I was never opposed to just going out and driving around and trying to get something. Like I said, I had everything already in order to go out and just have a good day door knocking, and then what I do is if the 2 appointments that I booked were at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., that's fine because I had the route for me. So I'd go to my appointment that I booked for Thursday, sit with them, and then in between what I would do is just work my way over on the map, right? I just pay attention to where I am, right? Because I know that at 3 o'clock, this appointment is on this side of town. So I just door knock people that are around that person until it was time for me to, go and sit down with my actual appointment. Um, and yeah, I'd say that that's kind of how I kept everything in line. Oh, I kept a binder too. I have a binder that has all the leads. I know if you're doing in person, you got to keep everything, keep the leads in hand so that when you get there, you can actually give them something. So when I was doing my door knocks, everything is in a big, thick binder in alphabetical order. So if I don't have any appointments or anything going on, all I had to do was go on the route for me. Okay, who am I going to see? Boom, look at Excel, who's in there, what happened last time I went to go see them. Then I would go into the binder, pull their lead out because it's all in alphabetical order by my last name, take their lead out, and then, go and door knock them. And if they don't answer, just put it back in the binder. If they did, you're good to go and you just give it to them. So, yeah. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Cool. Sounds good to me. Thank you guys. It was my first time talking for that long. Not gonna watch it though because I hate hearing my own voice. So, anyways, all right. Well, Nick, are you gonna jump back on?
Hey, I appreciate you, brother. You're a stud. And thanks for just sharing your time with everybody and your knowledge. And yeah, dude, appreciate you big time. And we'll get the recording up for everybody here in the next couple of days. So anybody that missed it, shoot it over to them. And Andre, you're a boss. Let's get back to it, y'all. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks.
All right. See y'all.